Everyone, this is Sean. So recently I realized that marketing is getting much more important than ever before, and sometimes even more important than just being technical. So I'll give you a few examples. Number one is that if you think about large language models, if we just look at the US, right? There's ChatGPT, there's Anthropic, there's a ton of other models like Gemini and stuff and like that, Llama, all these kind of things. And is there because there's no smaller companies doing that? Of course there are a bunch of smaller companies doing large language models, but just because these big companies already have all the traffic, all the attention from people. And if you look at China, there are hundreds of large language models being built in the past couple of years. We call it the 100 model battle. And eventually whoever ended up becoming popular or being used by people are those who either have a really good distribution channel, like for example some of the big companies built that, or some others have got really good funding from the top investors who just have this reputation out there, and they can just promote the products that they have invested in. And I've seen similar things that happening in the US because some of the smaller teams probably graduated from Stanford or MIT or some really top schools, and top venture capitals like Sequoia or something invested in them. And then they just get distribution immediately. They get invited to all these events and talk to the rest of the people. So at the end of the day, probably people are doing very similar things, like fine-tuning some stuff by distilling some data for the large language models. Of course, I'm not an expert in this, but just from a supply and demand perspective, at the end of the day, it's more about, do you have the right way to promote yourself? And for SaaS, it's even worse, right? Because previously when I was working in product teams, there were quite a lot of AI companies trying to pitch to me because I was a senior product manager on the team. And a lot of people they say, you work in core, perhaps you have faced this problem, but their salespeople are very nice and talk to me. But what they don't realize is that there are probably 5 other companies talking to me at the same time, and they all are trying to sell into my org, and they probably think that selling to my director or VPs is too hard at the beginning. So they try to talk to me first and try to get me to start using it and let me just do the bottom up sales to my management group. But who really stands out, right? It's very rare. Some of them are from companies where some of my previous colleagues worked at. So I know this guy and he knows this guy. So perhaps, we could have some common background, and I remember this company even more. So, even for SaaS sales, marketing and distribution is so important. For consumer apps, it's even worse, right? You go to all sorts of consumer apps like Instagram and YouTube, you see all these kind of marketing ads from everywhere, and people are getting really, really creative these days. They make their own ads, they make their own creative videos to promote their own factories, promote their own manufacturing products or consumer apps. So I think these days, as a lot of people on X has been saying, distribution is king. It's really, really important, much more important than we ever imagined it to be. So yeah, learn some marketing, learn some sales, and do distributions. Cheers.